Hello and happy Tuesday to everybody out there. Welcome into the PHLY Phillies podcast. Jamie Lynch, Renee Washington, John Foley is in with us today, and of course Tyler Zulli behind the glass. These last 48 hours in Philadelphia have been weather-wise absolutely effing spectacular. Like this is perfect. Like 72 to 74, sunny with a slight breeze.
This is the one week we get in between the cold and rain and the extreme heat. So let's make sure we enjoy it.
With Memorial Day weekend here, which is wild.
Well, the weather's going to suck down the shore this weekend.
And it always does, though.
I know.
Every Memorial Day weekend, without fail, especially on the Monday, it's always rainy, cold. So this is like the week you get excited while we're working, and then when we're off this weekend for a nice 3-day weekend, then it's going to be gross out. So
I think it's going to be nice here, though. I think it's just down the shore. It's a little colder.
I think I saw like an overcast. It's just not going to be sunny. You know, but at least if it's
it
not
is
raining,
what it is. It's Memorial Day in Philadelphia. But happy Ranger Day to all out there. I've missed my friend, Ranger Suarez, and tonight he gets to put down the Texas Rangers, his name counterpart, as the Phillies get back in action. We'll get into a lot of stuff today. We have a Down on the Farm report. We'll talk a little bit about what's going on around Major League Baseball, Promposals, bowling events. John was there last night at Aaron Nola's event. We'll get into a lot of it today, but I will share the sentiments of my daughter last night of, Dad, why aren't the Phillies playing? And I was like, I know, it's unfair, isn't it?
Oh my
like when they're good, it's just like every night, you know what you're watching. It becomes your routine.
Yep.
I hate off days.
And the worst part about it is there's so many games every day that you do get spoiled when they're winning. You know, if for anybody's team that's struggling, they're probably looking forward to a day off. But for us, it's like, what do we do now? Like yesterday, I sat down on the couch and I'm like, what do I watch? You know, what about, no Phillies game, now what? So it is a little weird.
I watched a lot of Jeopardy last night.
I binged Bridgerton. Finally got that
one
done.
of the horniest shows on TV.
It's a great show.
Sure.
It's a
the
great
ladies love
show.
it. It's a good one. I've been told. I haven't watched it, but it's a good one to watch with your partner, I've been told by a female friend of mine.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
It really makes you think differently about the world and especially courting and everything. Yeah,
courting
it's very
and
different.
Pantaloons.
Yeah, it's very different.
John, are you a Bridgerton fan?
Yeah, I'm a big Bridgerton guy. I love courting. But yeah, you make a great point. I mean, you get used to that winning every day. You know, you need more of it. You get that itch. And also, actually, I have a hard time with off days when they're losing.
Oh,
because you want to get that bad taste out of your mouth.
So basically, you don't want any off days. But you know, the guys need the rest, and they need to get their bowling in and whatnot. So, you know, it happens.
Yeah.
So they were throwing a different kind of strike, guys.
Hopefully not too many gutter balls. I don't know what the bowling joke is there. But we'll get into Aaron Nola's event here shortly. But let's touch on a couple Phillies happenings, as there's a lot going on an off day. A lot of the white noise in the background and all that stuff. So here's how the series looks. Back in action versus the defending world champs today. 6:40 tonight. John Gray, who's been phenomenal this year for the Rangers, goes against our dear sweet boy Ranger Suarez. And this should be a really good one. You know, defending world champs coming in, one of their best pitchers on the year versus our best pitcher on the year. Have at it, boys. So I'm really looking forward to tonight's game.
I am. And I think despite the fact that the Rangers have dropped, I think the number still is like 7 of the last 10. I can look it up to be exact. But the Rangers are struggling a little bit more. Yes, exactly. They dropped 7 of their last 10.
They got swept by the Rockies.
They also lost to the Rockies. And they are also exactly at 500. But are you not entertained?
Oh, no, they're at 500.
Are you not entertained? They are the defending World Series champs. I mean, they're the champs coming in. So is this not okay? Should we start making the excuses now? Because, yes, they do have a lot of injuries, including some guys that I've been watching a little bit closely for the Rangers. But I will say this is a good test for the Phillies. I always love an opportunity to play a team that others are expecting maybe to be a quote-unquote stronger opponent, and to see what the Phillies do. So I'm looking forward to it because the Rangers are a team that you can beat up on a little bit right now while they're dealing with injuries and in a little bit of a slump.
Yeah, get them while they're down. You know, the Phillies may have cost some of these teams while they're struggling. That's how you do it. Take advantage of it, which we've seen them not do so often in the past. And not just them. I'm excited to see them play against the defending champs, but I'm just excited. I'm excited to see Ranger right now. It's just must watch television.
Is he the coolest athlete in town since Dr. J, or maybe Allen Iverson?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
He's
definitely skipping
since Iverson.
Yeah. I don't know if he's Iverson.
Jalen Hurts is pretty cool.
I was gonna say I think
there's a lot of competition.
I don't know yet. I don't know for.
I mean, I'm talking like on the field cool, like
cool and calm.
like cool, calm.
Like the swag,
blood doesn't
the
spike.
composure.
Not like
Cold-blooded.
cultural impact.
Right, so I'm like, let's clarify that.
Allen Iverson is
a
worldwide
that,
generational
yes,
impact.
correct.
But I just mean like cool on the court, like a confidence, a quiet swagger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about like his drip off the field or anything like that. You like,
that's
you strip or that? I did it. Yeah. No, I just
Right.
mean like on the field coolness. Like, I can't recall many cooler athletes.
In terms of ice in his veins and just fielding a ground ball and
Looking at it,
throwing
it
the
up.
inscription, lazily tossing it over. I never get tired of watching it every time. It's fantastic.
It's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I definitely think the swag, the composure on the field is there, and it makes you wonder: would you rather have a Ranger or a bunch of Rangers?
Oh yeah, I was debating before the show, John. If you had to, would you rather fight one human-sized Ranger or 20 duck-sized Rangers?
Oh man,
I don't know why they have to be
but Tyler
duck-sized.
raises a fair point that the duck, if they look like Ranger and were like little ducks, they'd be too cute to harm.
Too cute to harm.
Yeah.
Also, that's a lot of tiny duck Rangers.
I'm just
gonna have to think about that
Where did
one.
you get? I'm
Sleep
still
on it.
trying to figure out where you got duck-sized Rangers from.
My head's a dark place. I'm way too
Lord.
online.
Are the ducks allowed to coordinate? Because I feel like that makes a difference.
Oh yeah, are they working together? Or are they just
together.
sporadically all over the
I would
place?
imagine they
Are
work
quacking
together.
And,
Okay.
But they can't get above your knees unless they South Philly grease pole human pyramid it up.
Oh my
You know what I
gosh.
mean? So like,
Oh my
these are things you
gosh.
have to think about.
These are things you think about.
By
I
the
don't
way,
know.
this chair has a hole in it.
I know that's
All right, fun.
that's
It's right where
that's
my
the
elbow
chair
goes.
that I always sit in that I say I'm gonna break.
So the rest of the series looks like this. Wednesday, 6:40 game, Andrew Haney versus Taiwan Walker. And then Thursday, we're going to be doing pregame, watch-along, post-game show here at PHLY. Jose Urena versus Zach Wheeler. So, if Ranger can go out and continue this game one success the Phillies have had, they're going to have a really good shot at taking this series. Now, John Gray has been great for the Rangers so far this year. Here's the career numbers of the Phillies versus John Gray for you Bet Parks, maybe game prop bettors tonight.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper has seen him the most. He's 6-19 versus Gray with 2 home runs. File that one away. Not bad. Renee, I think that's 33% of his hits are home runs.
Great math.
Thank you.
You're such a mathematician.
Thank you. I'm
Who are
basically
you today?
I'm John Nash. I'm a beautiful mind.
Oh,
Real
boy.
Muto has seen him 16 times, 5 hits. Kyle Schwarber 10 times, 3 hits, 1 home run. Merrifield 2 for 8. Bohm 2 for 7. Marsh 1 for 3. Casty 0 for 3. Strom 2 for 2. Taiwan Walker 1 for 2. And Bryson Stott 0 for 2. So the vets have seen him. The young guys have not seen him a lot. Those are the numbers.
Yeah, that's good numbers. I know in the chat people were talking about the over-under that they're looking to take.
The wind
on
is
the
going
day.
out today at Citizens Bank Park. So maybe take a
Yeah.
little over.
Yeah, and I expect this should be a day after having a nice, quite busy day off. The Phillies should come back. The bat should be hot. It's warm out. It's beautiful out. It's a great day for baseball. It's a great
It is a
week for
beautiful
baseball.
day
So
for baseball.
good things are going to be happening, in my opinion, for the Phillies.
Hopefully, hitting season weather maybe.
I think so.
We're
Yeah,
getting
well,
there.
I'd like to know when we get Charlie on eventually, we'll have to ask him if that's a temperature thing or if there's a date to
An
it.
official start.
Or is it just when
Don't
the
say
bats
Memorial
wake
Day
up?
weekend.
When they start hitting.
It's when Charlie
Therefore, it's
tells
hitting
you it's
season.
hitting season.
Okay,
all
yeah,
right.
that-
You don't get the deter. He just tells you.
We
it's
need
time.
to need to have him like night hitting season. Like when it actually happens, the Phillies should have a ceremony with Charlie, like and he knights somebody at home plate or something.
It's hitting season.
I officially
Let the
declare-
games begin.
Trumpets and fanfare and everything.
Exactly. Bunting flags, all
Bridgerton
of
style.
it. So a couple other things, fanfare-wise, about this upcoming series. 2 ceremonial first pitches. I didn't see who tonight's was, but tomorrow night is a local comedian, Shane Gillis, who's made it big and has a Netflix show debuting on Thursday called Tires, which was actually filmed down in Westchester. Him and John McKeever and a bunch of local comedians are part of that. So he is throwing out the first pitch Wednesday night. And then Thursday, the day game, I think this is cool. I know he's kind of a lightning rod figure in town because of the flash of brilliance we saw, but I really like that he ended up staying in the area, giving back to the game. Dom Brown is going to throw out the first pitch on Thursday, after his failed stint in the Mexican League, and he tried to make it and come back. He ended up settling down in the area, and he's a hitting coach in East Norriton at a place called Athletes Academy, and apparently is a really good hitting coach. Great with kids in the area, and a lot of people go and see him. So I'm a sucker in my old age. I love that for Dom Brown, that he didn't run from his failure.
Right,
he kind of settled here. I think that's really cool.
And a lot of people remain upset with Dom Brown for not panning out to who we thought he would be. It's not like he didn't want to.
Yeah.
It's not like he didn't try to play good baseball.
Yeah.
And
Dom Brown wanted to be good.
He wanted to be good. So he's, I'm sure, much more devastated than the rest of us. I know we all had some really big hopes, but
I'd like to think that he's probably the most frustrated by his shortcomings, more than the people are. But it is great to be able to bring back, meaningful community personalities, whether directly tied to the game or not, but just tied to the area in general. And so nice to see that, the Phillies are picking some goodies for first pitch.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. I saw Dom Brown's name and I was like, he's probably going to get a lot of leave the poor guy alone.
I hope he doesn't.
Yeah. No, I think at this point the statute of limitations is passed.
It's expired.
If you're still getting mad about Dom Brown, look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror at this point.
Go touch some grass. As the kids say.
We've got a good team right now. I will say the Phillies do a great job with this generally in terms of keeping the alumni around and part of events and things like this. So it's part of why you hear baseball folks say they're one of the top class organizations in the league.
You always hear family atmosphere, family organization.
Exactly.
And it's because of that. I had the honor of sitting with Larry Christensen on opening day down in the Diamond Club, and he buys Diamond Club tickets. You know what I mean? There's a couple old alumni guys that still are invested in the team, want to be around, know every usher. Walking around with him was like royalty. Everybody was like, "Oh, see," and he's like, "Dub, how are you?" They all know each other. They all kind of came up together. It is a great run organization.
And that's something, I know we say this a lot of what we take for granted, but that's something that's not the norm with every club. And even across leagues with every team, there are a lot of teams that do a bad job of keeping their alumni around and having this almost once you can't play for us, you're no good to us mentality of using you. And then when you retire or if you don't play well, like Dom, and your career doesn't pan out, they just kind of discard you. And at the end of the day, anybody that spends significant time within your team and playing for your fans and whatever, you want to keep them around in some way, in some capacity. So I love that the Phillies do a good job of just keeping the connection strong and making sure that they're not closing the door on folks, because it's not just about the guys on the field now. As we know, the history of the guys previously is what helped build this.
Sure.
And so they do things
Michael
the right
Jack
way.
in the booth even, and Jimmy in the booth, and Kruk in the booth. I mean, those are three generations.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Keeping these people around keeps, kids have it good right now because they're growing up in a golden era. So it's good to keep all those stages of Phillies alive because it keeps a connection to your fans, and the Phillies get that and they understand it. And hats off to them.
and that's how you do things the right way. And where you guys can do things the right way.
Oh, what a smooth transition.
That's over at Rite Aid, because Rite Aid is the place to go to make sure you've got all the things you need. They have everything for you. I love going to my local Rite Aid as a Rite Aid Rewards member, being able to also save some money when I go, but also being able to purchase whatever is needed. If I need that last minute birthday card, or maybe I need to go grab some snacks, or for my lunch, maybe some pudding, guys, maybe some pudding and yogurt. Whatever it is I need from Rite Aid, they've got medications. They've got over-the-counter medications specifically for allergy season. We are working out of allergy season a little bit now. It's calmed down. The pollen's calmed down. But also, it's never too late to go there and be able to ask questions about vaccinations, because as you're looking to protect you and your family, you want to make sure you're staying up to date on your immunizations. Listen, everybody's different with which vaccines they prefer to get, when they want to get them, what age. And with Rite Aid's pharmacists that are specially trained, they can also help make sure to simplify and answer any questions you may have, because it's stressful trying to figure out what age do you get your little ones vaccinated, what vaccines do you need and how you stay up to date. And so over at Rite Aid, they've got all the information you need and all the support that you need, more importantly. The great thing about it is you can book an appointment today. You can either schedule online or you can just walk in. And through Rite Aid's website, you're able to schedule, and you'll be able to get that assistance from Rite Aid's pharmacist to be able to get all the information around COVID-19, flu vaccine, pneumonia, tetanus, whooping cough, whatever it is you're looking to get vaccinated for. Head over to your select Rite Aid stores, which have those dedicated pharmacists ready to administer vaccines and answer all your questions. No questions are too small. If not sure if you're up to date, if you just have questions in general, just know that you can always ask their trained professionals. Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can head in there, make an appointment, or walk in. State, age, and health restrictions do apply, and you can ask a Rite Aid pharmacist for more details.
Dave P. in the chat says that Rite Aid has an elite candy section.
Best.
And Renee, you might have me even beat in the sweet tooth department.
But it's not a candy sweet tooth. I'm a dessert sweet tooth. There's a difference.
Okay, well, Rite Aid's got both.
Myself. And they do, though, because they've got like the...
Yeah, I know. I know you can give their whole rundown of what they got. Entenmann's and Tasty Cakes.
I was gonna say the candy cakes, the Entenmann's, the honey buns.
Oh, yeah. I can't hear honey buns and not think Hank Fraley. That's how Philadelphia sports warps my brain is. And sometimes when I'm trying to make sense of it, I like to, think about the weird Philadelphia sports figures in my head with a nice ice cold Miller Lite in my hand, because it's the original light beer since 1975. And to this day, it's still the best one. I was having some on the golf course last Friday because it's less filling. You can walk around, do what you want to do, be active with the Miller Lite in your hand, and you're not going to get that full feeling, that bloated feeling sometimes you get from those heavy craft beers. So, whether you're down at a Phillies game, with friends and family at a barbecue, whatever it might be. Me and Mr. Washington were cheersing a Miller Lite at the game the other day. It's great taste and less filling. It's what you want in a light beer, and it's simple. They strip away everything you don't need and hold on to what matters most. It's a beer that tastes like beer should taste, and you don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling. Tastes like Miller time. You can get Miller Lite delivered directly to your door by going to MillerLite.com/PHLY Phils, or find it pretty much everywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than a regular premium beer. All right, couple things to get to before we get to Aaron Nola's nice charity evening that John was able to attend last night. Moving in on my man Ranger, trying to become besties. Yeah, I see you, John. All right.
Are you feeling threatened
a little bit? Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah. He got to go bowling with Ranger. I didn't,
Yeah.
Not that you were bowling per se, but you were there watching him bowl. I'm jealous. A couple news and notes. This was from Rich's morning newsletter. And Renee, this is something you brought up last week. This was the MLB quarter of the season study done. And we talked about how Kyle Schwarber's bat speed was the best in baseball. He just swings really fast all the time, regardless. Rich in his morning newsletter, and if you're not subscribed to it, it is phenomenal. Go to allphly.com. It's free. You don't even have to be a diehard to get it, although we recommend you do become a diehard, because I promise you we'll make it worth your while. We got to hang out with some diehards on Friday night, actually. But This is the rest of the study, how it applies to the Phillies in Rich's morning newsletter. So we all know that Kyle Schwarber is the hardest swinging bat in baseball. And, that top 12 list we went through, Renee, I mean, they were all great players. So there is a correlation between bat speed and being a really good baseball player. As Rich points out, here's the other two positives, one negative. Bryson Stott showed up in the study as well. On the other end of the swing spectrum, Stott pokes a good 0-2 pitch on the outside of the plate. Stott's average bat speed is 67.1%. 214th out of 220 qualified hitters. His fast swing percentage, 0.5%, 218th out of 220 hitters. So he is on the low end of the spectrum, whereas Kyle Schwarber's on the high end of the spectrum. But situationally, Bryson Stott is, putting the ball in play, going with where the pitch is, and he's slowing it down. So it's funny to see the strikeout fast speed correlation with Schwarber, and then the slow bat speed, good two-strike hitting with Stott.
Yeah, it tracks with exactly what you would expect before looking at the math, which is one guy swinging fast and hard as hell,
But he
missing
connects,
a lot,
ball go
and all of a
boom.
sudden, making the ball go boom. And another guy who just works great at bats and can foul off 9 pitches in a row before and Stock is his share of home runs too.
Yeah, he does. Clutch ones.
Yeah. So there's different ways to have success. I happened to catch an interview with, I forget the guy's name, but one of the people helping implement the new StatCast measurement of what the bat is doing, and he said, this is one data point. It's just like any other stat or anything. Like it's just like velocity for a pitcher could be good, could be helpful, but you have to take it into account. Do they know where the ball's going?
Sure.
Or in this case, do they know where
it's like Randy Johnson versus Greg
the bat's
Maddux?
going?
Choose your fighter. Who cares? They're both really good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
If you see somebody towards the bottom of that list, but if at the top of the list like Schwarber, it's definitely a good thing.
And guys, there's the old baseball saying,
there he is.
quick to the zone, long through the zone.
Yeah.
And it's about getting the bat plane to the zone quickly and being able to, I don't want to say lag or drag through the zone because that has this moniker of negativity.
I always call it go with a pitch.
But there is a sense of quick to the zone, long through the zone, to the point you guys are talking about Bryce and Stott being low. Do you guys know who the lowest average bat speed amongst qualified hitters is this year?
Well, Bryson Stott's close.
He's not on the Phillies, clearly.
He's not on the Phillies.
Mickey Moniak.
No.
Someone surprising.
I don't even know if
Arias,
I don't even know if he makes it, to be honest with you.
Arias.
It's Luis Arias, who, by the way, has an 8.8% whiff rate on the season. 8.8% whiff rate.
Wow.
Meaning he's not missing pitches. So, there is value to being able to have bat head speed, bat head control through the zone, even if it's not necessarily this just whip, vicious Kyle Schwarber, Giancarlo Stanton, Bryce Harper type of swing.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Hypothetical man in the chat got it. Nice job there with
great job,
Luis Arias.
I was gonna say, I just think that it's another metric, and as we all know, there's value in having more analytics and data that you can break down to be able to tweak things. And as we know, someone like Bryson Stott versus Kyle Schwarber, what works for them is going to be different. But you can at least, when you can correlate the bat speed to, all these other metrics of, how your at-bats are overall, I like the value that it brings just to be able to look at something different. And that list in general, the top 10 is very surprising, but as you guys mentioned, the bottom group is also too, because it's not necessarily a direct reflection of they're not giving good at-bats, their whiff rate is high, things like that. It's just they're a different type of batter, essentially.
Yeah. The other 2 points that Rich put in the morning newsletter, Nick Castellanos whiffs a lot. 103 total whiffs. Second among all qualified hitters behind Ezekiel Tovar. No good, Rich points out. And then the last one is Hypothetical Man says Arise, more importantly, is up there in squared up balls. Well, we got our own squared up ball guy in Philly right now. Alec Boehm currently leads the Phillies in most hard hit categories. Squaring up a baseball, which is calculated by the pitch and exit velocity, Boehm leads. Blasting a baseball, which is squaring up a baseball but also swinging hard, Boehm also leads the team as well. So everything you're seeing from Alec Boehm is not a mistake. This guy is having good at bats and squaring everything up.
Yeah, it's legit. He's not lucking into these doubles and home runs. I mean, it's very rare to see, we talk about Don Brown, such a high prospect that didn't live up to it. It's a rare and amazing thing to see a player come up through the Philly system and just continue to improve from the point where he looked like he could never even be a serviceable third baseman until now. And he worked on it. And now I'd say he's maybe even, if not a plus defender, he's at least average. And he continues to work on his hitting and improve year after year. And it really seems like he's taking it to a different level this year. So
and
that's great to see.
The greatest thing about it is exactly as you touched on. As he was coming up through the system, he was struggling. And they actually didn't, I was reading something a while back, a piece that was talking about how, Alec Boehm started to thrive when he got to the major league level, because it started to click. Prior to that, he was struggling with at-bats. He always had the power. He wasn't giving, good contact. And it was like, will this click? Will this not click? Took a gamble, and it's paid off. And the confidence is there now. The consistency is there now. And that's why you see him leading the league in RBIs, top in doubles, all these different offensive categories that we look at. And it's mind-boggling, but it makes sense because he has been consistently chipping away. And then you add in the fact that this offseason and spring training specifically was focused on his fielding play and continuing to give the mixture of you've got the power, can you give the good at-bats? And it's all coming together for him. He's still young also, which makes it even better.
Yeah,
and he's been that quiet, consistent threat for the Phillies that every time he's up, you feel really good about Alec Bohm and what he can deliver.
Yeah,
Zachary's
Harper.
Exactly.
Yeah, Zachary Zeman in the chat says Alec Bohm is 7th in batting average, 13th in OPS, and 2nd in RBIs. I guess somebody overtook him last night. An all-around fantastic season. It really is. All right, minor league note worth noting.
By the way, yes, Marcell Ozuna has 43 now.
I can't wait till it comes
My
out
guy.
how he's cheating. No, you don't get to put your hands up about Marcell Ozuna.
He's on my team.
Bad, Renee. Bad.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't like him for the Phillies, but I like him for my team.
You keep
I
that
can't
to yourself.
I didn't say it. Tyler brought him up. No.
I brought up a stat for a player who exists within the realm of the
He
world.
plays baseball for a living. The arm raise is what did
Arch
it.
rival.
I probably could have let it pass if you didn't raise the arms. But you war whooped like Sister Bear in the Berenstein Bears, and Brother Bear never liked it when Sister Bear war
All right,
whooped.
Berenstein Bear.
Renee
Listen,
out there in the mid 2000s. Hell yeah, Jose Reyes.
Tiger
Let's
fist bumps over here
go.
about Ozuna.
Woo! Listen, I'm sorry.
He's
I don't
cheating. I
like
just
the
can't
Braves.
prove it yet.
I don't like the Braves, guys. I know you're all saying ew. I apologize,
Yeah.
but selfishly,
Get
it's
her
like
out of here.
it'll be you're gonna get a memo. Renee Washington and PHLY Phillies have mutually parted ways.
All right.
Listen, though.
Can you dump that, Tyler? Is
Wait,
it too late?
no. I'm glad you
That
didn't
doesn't
bleep.
exist in this
I'm
industry,
glad you
buddy.
didn't bleep me this time because last time you bleeped me off when I was talking about it. But no, I'm not. Just to clarify, I'm not a Braves fan at all.
Yep,
At all. But it's like, which would I rather
You seem
have?
very happy that he
my
took the
fantasy
RBI
team
lead.
winning, and the Braves are still losing.
Well, they
and
split
my
a
fantasy
doubleheader
team's
yesterday.
winning.
All
so
right, we'll move on, Renee.
it's a win-win.
You did this to all of
I want
us.
the Braves to keep losing, but I want my guys
You
to
put
just
us
do
in
well.
this mind space.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, a minor league move of note because, look, Garrett Stubbs is here to catch the staff well. He is pretty much an automatic out at the plate right now. It appears he fell off a cliff. I'm not going to get angry about the backup catcher. It's just like it's hard to do that. But I did find this move interesting in that catcher Rafael Marchand, who has been, kind of after Logan O'Hoppe left, was like maybe the guy that was going to take O'Hoppe's place. Injuries have kind of been a pain for him. He was moved up today to Lehigh Valley to AAA, and he's going to be playing this morning. We'll get into that because Michael Mercado's on the mound today, and he has been spectacular. But I did find that interesting that Rafael Marchand is moving up. If he can stay healthy, maybe he's a guy they look at, kick the tires on if needed this year. Who knows? Unlikely, but they're positioning him to bring him up.
It's possible. I mean, sometimes I think people might take too much out of what Garrett Stubbs bringing to the clubhouse.
The pitching staff loves him.
Something real. The pitching staff loves him.
He's caught the last 2 Nola gems.
Right. And just how many backup catchers in the league are going to
Can you even name
300? Yeah, can you even name?
Yeah.
It's just another indication of where we're at with this Phillies team. Yeah. We're always searching for something, somewhere to improve, and sometimes we get down to the backup catcher.
Yeah.
So
that's how good the Phillies are.
I will say, first of all, you guys are hilarious. I have reacted to Alec Bohm in a really positive way. Maybe not the double-handed raise, but I'll give more of those. Okay, what I love about this though is, as I always say, everything that we talk about on the show, it's like it's not just us, but we as media, as fans, are manifesting these great things. And one of the things that we've talked about is Garrett Stubbs and having a catcher that gives you just gives you more, essentially. And for Rafael, who did, as you mentioned, when he began his single A Clearwater last Tuesday, his first time this regular season, played 4 games in their last series, 3 at catcher, 1 as DH, and also went 3 for 11 with a home run, 3 walks, and hit by pitch. And then on May 18th, he was 2 for 3 with a home run in his rehab appearance. He's giving good at bats. He's one of those names, and I know we're going to go down on the farm today, as others in the chat were talking about, Mick Abel and Andrew Painter. We're going to give you guys a down on the farm updates shortly. But if 25-year-old Rafael can overcome this injury, battled stretch that he's had and be able to stay healthy, this could be a minor issue that could possibly get fixed to see what he does in a call-up. And
It's
if he
probably
gets a
more
little bit
about
better,
next year. Like
Yeah,
I think
but it's like
next
a
year Garrett
plan.
Stubbs, like job security probably ends,
Right.
and you probably have a real camp battle between him and Stubbs if he stays up.
And that's a plan that at least is in the works, that you can have him progress up from his, through his rehab assignments. And if not this year, maybe next year, but at least gives you an option moving forward that if needed, you have him as a backup.
All right, couple birthdays today. One has a baseball fun fact trivia question that I did not know about that young Zulli brought to my attention today. Well, he's young to me. Jose Alvarado, happy birthday, sir. I love you. I know you think you're fat like a panda in spring training and all that. Friendship bracelets, dynamite, back end of the bullpen guy.
Towel chickens.
What's that?
29 years
Towel
old.
chickens he was making.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that sounds
So happy birthday, 29?
29.
Okay. He looks older.
He is a hard 29.
One of the bigger heads in baseball. I always respect that.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
Well,
It's because he's so smart.
Yeah, a
I'll
lot
check
of brain.
Statcast real quick. Looking up Jose Alvarado's head size.
Yeah, what's his hat size? Jose Alvarado hat size.
He does have a round.
It's big. It's
round,
big dome.
Round. Yeah, it is.
It's a
it
big
just
dome.
is.
I say that as a man with a 7 5/8 fitted hat. John, some people in the chat were commenting on your hat. Would you like to
that's
share
what
your
that
hat
number
size?
was.
7 1/4.
Ooh, look at that.
That's what they were doing the over.
All right,
under.
so how
I
about
got a little
that?
bean head.
I'll sit right in between you guys. I'm 7.5.
There you go. Look at us, big brains. And then the
Yeah,
other,
I think it's just a large skull
Shell.
with nothing inside of it.
It's like Homer with the monkey
with
inside
the
and
symbols
tambourine.
clashing. Yes.
I've got a little head.
Yeah,
Thanks for
big
asking.
brain, little head. The other birthday, Rodolfo Castro, not a Phillies prospect by any means. But Tyler, this was your trivia question. Why don't you give it out about Rodolfo Castro?
Rodolfo Castro, funny enough, became the first and only player in Major League Baseball history to have his first 5 Major League hits all be home runs. He did it over the span of 4 games. And in that span of 4 games, he had 5 hits, 5 home runs.
That's unbelievable.
That's
and now he's in
wild.
AAA.
Yeah. But happy birthday
That's
nonetheless.
wild.
You are a part of a pretty wild baseball stat there. All right, before we get to the ridiculous promposals, I got to tell you about our friends over at True Mark Financial Credit Union. Because if True Mark wanted to propose to me to go to the prom, I would say yes. Look, they're based right here in our own backyard. That's why they're great. I always love local businesses that are invested in the community, that hire people in the community, that feel a part of the community, because you get more out of companies that are like that. And when you join a credit union like True Mark Financial, you become a part owner, which means profits are going to come back to you instead of going out to shareholders. Better rates, lower fees, and a better return on savings, and more flexible options with all the same technology that you're used to and digital tools and all that. And like I told you, they're based right here in Fort Washington, 5 minutes down the road from me. They have 24 branches all over the Philly area. They serve our community and our people right here at home. And becoming a member of a credit union has so many benefits over being a customer at a bank. It's a total no-brainer. So head over to truemark.com/PHLY. It's right there on the screen for you. For you podcast listeners, just check that out to find a branch near you and learn more. That's truemark.com/PHLY, federally insured by the NCUA.
All right. And let's also talk about our friends over at Olipop, who can help provide you with all the healthy benefits that you need for your gut health, but also some great flavor, because Olipop is the world's first functional soda that provides you some flavorful soda and also helps give you that digestive health that you need. We had a chance to connect and partner with our friends at Olipop this past weekend for our tailgates down at Jetro Lot. Prior to the Phillies' exciting win over the Nationals on Saturday. And people had a chance to try Olipop for themselves, and they were pleasantly surprised, especially those that had it for the first time, or even those that were trying a new flavor, because we had free Olipops on hand. And the best thing that I was telling them is, listen, there's a flavor for everyone. There's plenty of options. You've got so many different types of flavors. You've got the ginger ale, the lemon limes, the cream sodas, classic grape, root beer, Dr. Goodwin, so many different flavors. You can have it as a mixer. You can have it with ice cream, maybe a root beer float. You can also have it just straight as a refreshing soda. And as I was telling them also, while you're drinking it, it's a lot more flavorful than I would have even expected. A lot of healthy drinks mean that you lose flavor. Not with Olipop. They make sure to provide you with high fiber, 9 grams of fiber per can, just 2 to 5 grams of sugar per can, and helping to tackle the fact that 2 out of 3 Americans are dealing with digestive health issues. So with Olipop, like those that tried it this past weekend at our tailgate, you too can enjoy some delicious Olipop and get some nice refreshing soda. Feel good, get your body feeling great, and make sure to check out Olipop today. So use the code PHLY20 for 20% off your next Olipop order. That discount does only apply to one-time orders, not subscription orders. And Olipop, which is sold online, on Amazon, on drinkolipop.com, is also available in over about 30,000 retailers nationwide. Wawa, Target, Sprouts, GoPuff, Wegmans, ShopRite. So shop for Olipop today and use that code PHLY20, guys, for 20% off.
John, the strawberry vanilla Olipop goes very well with
That's you,
tequila. I would imagine vodka works as well. It's
Sounds
become
about
my
right.
favorite.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
We do need a whole list of which
Yeah,
Olipops pair
best with which
That is
foods.
true.
Yeah.
That
Well,
is
if I have to be the man for that job, then so
Yeah,
be it.
I think
Olipop, just get in touch with me. You know what to do. All right. Now, I am going to preface this conversation with I did not grow up in the promposal era. I think what Bryce Harper did for a local teen is very, very cool. I think promposals are stupid and an unnecessary pressure on kids. But anyway, we'll get into the story and then the idea of promposals. Bryce Harper last night, I assume it's like a neighborhood kid or a neighborhood friend, who knows?
Yeah.
But a young kid, I think his name was Jake, did I read?
Jake, and not Jake from State Farm.
Not. So he shows up, Bryce Harper and Jake, at, I guess, his girlfriend or want-to-be girlfriend's door. And who's there knocking on the door but Bryce Harper. I have to note, she did hug Bryce Harper before the date.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I mean-
absolutely. The girl does say yes to the prom. Bryce Harper's there. The dad comes out.
Dad
He's
comes
like,
out. He's got to check it and make sure
Absolutely.
there's a
Forget
firm
the boy.
handshake.
Forget Jake. You can see Jake anytime, anywhere. Bryce
So,
is the focus.
You're gonna spend plenty of time with Jake.
Yeah,
at,
we don't care
at
about
the
Jake.
prom.
I mean, you can't
Exactly.
say no to Jake when Bryce Harper's there. So it was a guaranteed shoo-in. Very cool move by Bryce Harper. He's done this throughout his career, even dating back to like DC. He would pull over and play on the National Mall, like stickball with kids. He's always been a pretty good dude with the community. So very cool move by him. The idea of promposals, it's just too much.
Listen,
Did you guys?
Love-
You're the young one here. Did you grow up in
No.
that
Before
era?
my time.
no. I
After my
love
time.
the fact that Bryce is a man of the people.
Yeah, sure.
And
it's great.
makes time like this to do the little things because
Promposal's
I
done.
could not imagine opening my front door. I opened my front door this morning. I was like, what would I do if Bryce was standing on the other side of this? Phenomenal.
You probably
just
tell
to
him
see.
he was on your fantasy team.
Yeah. You'd be like,
That's
I drafted
probably what
in
you would
fantasy.
I didn't say it. You guys did. I mean, he is on my Bryce Betts R Wash squad. But I also have been seeing so many prom things. I think let's go bigger. It's not just the promposals. It's prom in general is like a wedding for kids these days. It was not like
That's
that
what I'm
for
saying.
me.
It's too much.
For me, it was like
It's too much
you might
pressure,
have-
too much shit.
You
Like,
might have
stop.
flowers on your car or like
Yeah,
a card
that's
or something,
fine.
like basic stuff. But I'm watching people, and I see it in my neighborhood because of a lot of proms going on right now. I was just looking the other day. People are decorating and doing
too much.
and like Rolls Royces.
Yeah,
Forget
come
just
on.
a limo. It's like Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis that are driving these kids. The
It's
dresses
ridiculous.
are outrageous. I've seen dresses on Instagram and stuff that I'm like, are you getting married or are you going to prom?
Yeah.
So the promposal is just the tip of the iceberg because from promposal to the dresses to the prom day of events and parties, it is way too much for 16 and 17-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And you're spending thousands of dollars for one night for them to go dance in their, high school gym or
And then
wherever
try
the
and
prom's
drink
at.
in somebody's parents'
Yeah,
basement.
for them to, exactly. Like trying to get lucky, trying to get some liquor.
What
Like
are we
that's all.
really celebrating?
Why
here?
are we
Yeah.
celebrating that? Prom is like not that. It's not a wedding. But it's become way too much of a thing. Way too much.
Kids these days?
Yeah.
Kids these days,
It's
exactly.
it's too much like pressure and
Yes.
bullshit.
Well,
and mostly money for the parents. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna spend all this money or go call in a favor to Bryce Harper because like of a promposal.
And they're having full on proms before the prom. Like the prom send off used to just be you get with your friends, you take your classic little sideways pictures with your corsage and everything. And I might be bitter because my prom experiences sucked.
Sorry to hear that. I had a good time.
I don't care at all, but I'm looking at proms compared to mine. I'm like,
my date was from Kentucky. I had a girlfriend in Kentucky senior year, oddly enough. So she actually flew up. I had an out-of-state prom date.
You had a long distance relationship in high school. Ooh, Mac Daddy.
It was good because once you finally got there, the people in high school believed you.
Yeah. Oh my God, she is real.
Jamie really has a real girlfriend.
I've known her on AOL for 6 years, guys. We're in love.
We've been emailing each other back and forth.
Yeah.
Did you have her in your MySpace or Zynga?
I never joined MySpace. What the hell is Zynga?
I had a feeling you were a little too old for Zynga.
Yeah, I missed that one too.
Yeah, okay.
I had a MySpace.
Tyler, Zynga?
I did have a MySpace.
Never heard of it.
Okay.
You never heard of Zynga, Tyler?
Nope. I don't think it's real. I think you made it up.
It's real.
He was playing backyard baseball.
Yeah, you were.
He wasn't
You were
zinging.
cool.
No, that's the thing. I wasn't cool.
You were
Just
cool.
getting
I was
into it.
the absolute inverse of
But
cool.
you had like aim and all that. Like,
Yeah.
Like, all right, were you instant messaging her? Maybe talking on your BlackBerry, Jamie?
No. High school was beeper.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It
That's
wasn't until
true.
my
That's
freshman
true.
year of college that I had like a Nokia brick that I would turn on and off just to call my parents.
That's the other thing.
Isn't that
what
wild?
a difference.
Because it'll
What
be
a
like
difference.
$2 a minute or something.
Yeah, and I would turn it on and off and wait like 2 minutes for it to power up.
K-Red had a Zynga. Thank you, K-Red. You know what?
the
K-Red's
hell
always
is a
here with
Zynga?
fashion. It was basically like you had a page where you would just, it was stupid. It wasn't a social media page
Clearly
like
it was stupid.
MySpace,
It didn't
Facebook, or
make
anything
it.
like that. But you just had one page where you would put all these random things about yourself, and
So it was
But
like
there was just no interaction.
there was no real interaction.
So it's like what's that site that the women love? My mom and
Pinterest.
Pinterest. So it was kind of like Pinterest.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of a good comparison.
All right.
It was
look at
not
me.
nearly as interactive, but
Nailing
I
it.
did have a MySpace. I had a Zynga for a short time, and I was all about aim.
Dave P says I cut out a picture of a magazine like George. No, she was real. Her name was Annie. Scroll up a little bit, Tyler.
I had a guy I was dating that like I was gonna go to prom with me, and then we stopped talking right before my prom.
So did
I
you
ended
have
up
a
going,
date?
No.
You went
that
to
was my
Stag?
senior year. No, I didn't go.
Oh, you just didn't
Didn't go at
go.
all?
So junior.
you
Oh,
have-
that's why both my proms. were
Let's get
bad
onto the couch,
experience.
Renee. You have deep-seated conflicts
I'm
about
not
this.
gonna
Do you
lie.
regret not going?
No, I actually have zero regrets.
Okay.
So
good.
my junior year prom, I did go to, and I didn't have a date. It was so bad that my mom, the classic move, trying to like pair me with like almost my cousin,
Yeah.
family friends. I went with a family friend. He was an asshole.
Whoa.
He was
Oh,
so rude. And I
really?
say that I had to say the whole
Junior
curse
prom?
word to my junior prom because he ended up hooking up with one of my friends. And I was like,
I'm
okay.
sorry to laugh, but that's like something out of a rom-com teen
My high school
movie.
experience was fully out of a rom-com experience. And then my senior year, I had somebody, my guy, we weren't official, in high school, it's like, what are you? But we were supposed to go together. And then like a couple weeks before,
Ghosted you.
no, we just like ended things and I didn't have a date. So I went to the pre-prom send-off, just dressed in regular clothes and saw my friends off to prom.
All right.
Yay, prom! I'm not bitter,
There's
guys.
Renee's
It's fine.
prom
Everything's
history.
fine.
I was dating magazine clippings, and you were ghosting your maybe
that's the good
quasi
thing about
boyfriend.
the promposals. Now maybe dates get locked in. Like once you have Bryce Harper.
Yeah,
show
when you
up,
spend
Yeah,
$4,000
sure.
on an
$4,000,
invite,
They better
not
go.
just on a no-show.
I regret. Yeah, I'm happy for kids these days. Everything's fine. This is fine. This is
Nah,
fine.
it's too
I
much.
was a late bloomer anyway. That's fine. Whatever.
All right, let's get to last night's really cool event that Aaron Nola had. John, it was at Brooklyn Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, up in Fishtown,
Yep.
which I have not been to yet. I'm going to get the name of this wrong because I don't have it in my notes. The RFW Fund?
Team RWB.
RWB.
Yeah, right.
It's
I
a
think as
relief
in
veterans
red, white, and blue.
fund. I know he teams up with a bunch of people to do well by veterans, which is very admirable. His annual bowling event, a lot of the Phillies were there last night. Tell us about the event a little bit and how it all went down.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, first of all, it's just for a terrific cause. A spokesman from Team RWB was there and talked about how a lot of veterans, how they struggle when they come back to civilian life,
Sure.
trying to readjust, dealing with problems like PTSD, depression, anxiety, all sorts of things. And what they do, they form these local chapters. It's a nationwide group. They form local chapters, and they're really, really big in Philadelphia. And they work on making sure they try to get veterans together for fitness groups and runs and challenges and events, other programs. It's a really great cause. They talked about how it can really help, the exercise and the physical activity can really help clear your mind. As we all know,
Sure.
exercise is always good for your mental health as well as your physical well-being. So it's a fantastic cause. Yingling is a huge backer of this great organization. They presented a $60,000 check.
Awesome.
Wow.
Aidan Nola is donating.
I saw $1,500 every Phillies win.
$1,500 for every Phillies win.
That's
I don't
awesome.
know if he's
Oh my
expecting a
goodness.
100-win season.
Yeah,
I was
He
gonna
might
say, yeah.
He might have toned it down, but
That's what I saw last night on the press release. So
yeah,
good for him. That's awesome.
Very generous of Nola, and then put together the whole event, which was really nicely done. Brooklyn Bowl, Philadelphia in Fishtown is a really, really nice location. It's not like an old school bowling alley. It's like one of
Right.
the more new.
Yeah.
Everything's nice.
It looked really nice in there.
It
when they
did.
were posting
Yeah,
the pictures and everything.
It
Yeah,
seemed like a
it was
really
a cool
nice
place.
event, and it was great to see. It looked like a great turnout. We saw our guy Fletcher Cox and some Eagles there. We saw, of course, the Phillies there. So it seemed like
Yeah.
the red carpet was a nice star-studded event.
That was fun. It was fun. It was like
JT got called the center fielder by the
JT got called
MC.
center fielder, and I think whoever was doing the announcing confused C for center fielder because both Garrett Stubbs
Oh my goodness.
Was center
and
fielder
JT
as well.
Realmuto were center fielders, which is
Well,
news to
Stubbs is
them.
an emergency outfielder.
Yeah, I mean, he could probably in a pinch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can,
But the majority of the
Athletes.
team was there. Great turnout for Nola.
Yeah, great turnout. Stott,
awesome.
Stott was there.
I have an
Schwarber and
important
Harper.
question for you
Yes.
on behalf of Jamie and his
Oh,
fandom. Give
Yeah.
us as many Ranger details in like
Was he
as
there?
quick time that you can.
I really didn't want to disappoint when you
Oh.
mentioned it
Oh,
earlier, Jamie.
Jamie.
Ranger was not.
Oh.
not in
He was
his
probably
house.
out doing
Bummer.
something else charitable. You know,
Probably
giving back to the
doing extra
community.
charity.
Yeah.
He's also pitching today, so
Yeah, maybe he
That
also
could have been a
just
part of it.
didn't want to
Yeah.
he
be.
might have been at a promposal. I'm sure people have things they got to do. So.
He's, I know what it was, guys. He clearly knew you weren't there, Jamie. He was like, John is there, but my guy Jamie's not there, so
Jamie's
I'm
not
not
there,
going
I'm
to
not
show up
going. It's
because
true.
I don't have,
Yeah.
my.
He's good like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, totally.
So an awesome night down there for Aaron Nola and the foundation.
Mhm.
Really cool when teammates come out and support. Kyle Schwarber, from everything I've read about, is like the best teammate in the world. So I would imagine he's a guy that like is a driving force of like,
Mhm.
come on, let's support everybody
Yeah,
else's
group
charities.
together.
Let's do it.
It's
so
great
really
to see
cool.
something like that. You could tell just by there's something very different when you
Sure.
observe
Yes.
a team, a group like in a setting like that where you can really pick up on like it's a true team, a true group of friends. It really seems
It's
like
genuine.
just genuine, like
There's-
the stuff you see on TV where they're like
Mhm.
joking around, having fun.
Sure.
It's genuine stuff because you see it in these more
There's-
private settings as
all
well.
right,
There's
who
so
threw-
many times. I'm sorry. There's so many times you have those events and the team is almost just there because they have to, and you can tell that they don't want to actually be there. And that's like genuine, enjoying being there, enjoying a chance to get away from baseball, to get together, do something that's good for the community. I got that vibe too from as I was following all your posts and updates from it. It just seemed like this was enforced. They actually want to be there and do something greater than them. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Who threw the best rocks? What Philly's the best bowler from?
Man, I gotta tell you, from what I saw,
Not many.
not many
But when did they
guys
time to
have ever bowled in their life.
When did
Stott
they
was
time to
giving
go
that shit up there
bowling?
with two hands.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I did not see a lot of great bowling, and none of them seemed to express any confidence if I asked how they thought they were going to do. I asked.
None of them are Mookie Betts.
Yeah,
who's like
Mookie Betts-
basically a professional
See,
bowler.
I was gonna say he's
Yeah,
bowled
guys
300,
just
hasn't he?
keep bringing up my team.
A lot of athletes. I know NBA bowling's huge.
Oh yeah,
I think NFL it's pretty big too. So
but baseball.
they don't have as much downtime.
I was gonna
6
say.
nights a
Right,
week
like,
they're playing.
they've been
so
playing baseball their
Shit,
lives.
yeah,
They're focused
sure.
on baseball their lives. So
that's funny.
And
yeah.
like
Probably
we
don't have
talk,
a
like I remember even talking with Fletcher when he was here for one of the Eagles shows, and it's like he's like, I don't really have time to do much outside of football. He hunts, he races. It's the same thing with baseball. Like outside of certain sports, you don't really have downtime to
Yeah.
be in a bowling alley.
I would love to see
enough.
Jordan Mailata throw a rock.
Oh,
though.
I feel
yeah,
like
I didn't
his-
see him. I don't know if they had like a 50-pound ball for him.
Yeah, my gosh.
That's great though. Fun night.
But yeah, just a really fun night, a fun time. You can see everybody clown with each other.
Aw.
I love one of the things I really loved was there was a silent auction. One of the items was a big, enormous framed autographed photo of Bryson Stott. And I looked down at the bidding sheet, and the top bidder at the time, I don't know if he won it, but the top bidder at the time was Trey Turner.
That's awesome.
Which is like the idea of Trey Turner just putting up this giant frame photo of
yeah,
Stott
right?
in his home.
Guys being dudes. What's better
so
than
funny
this? Yeah. Those two seem to have, like, dating back to spring training and Stott getting
were
on him
road
about
tripping together and
like
stuff.
stolen bases. They seem to have a great, like, competitive friendship.
It's
love
good.
that.
You want that in your double play combination.
Sure.
You know, Stott had it with Segura, that connection. So it's nice to see that they have a relationship.
Yeah.
That seems pretty good.
Very cool. And the Phillies also philanthropically on the side of Aaron Nola's event closed out their fantastic auction yesterday. They do this in partnership with NBC Sports Philly and WIP in town. They raised $548,200 on their end yesterday, which is a new high. So it's always good to see records broken when you're doing charitable efforts. All right, let's go down on the farm a little bit, and then we'll throw a lasso around Major League Baseball news and notes and call it a day here. All right, today's down on the farm. A couple guys in the notes, mostly positive, although Mick Abel and Griff McGarry are struggling. We'll talk briefly about them. Aidan Miller. Let's start with him because every single thing you read about Phillies prospects always kind of starts and ends with Aidan Miller right now. I think after this year, he's going to be right behind Andrew Painter as the team's number 2 prospect because he started phenomenally down in Single A Clearwater. So far this year, his slash line is 333, 422, and 570 with 14 extra base hits, 4 of which are home runs, 10 doubles in just 23 games. He's already been moved up the MLB pipeline system to the number 49 prospect in all of baseball. So he's already cracked the top 50. He is second in Single A this year with 6 balls exiting the bat at over 105 miles per hour. And the best part of this is he's ahead of schedule defensively. He is playing shortstop right now. There has been a little talk about getting him some experience at third, or whispers, I should say. When we talked to him down in Clearwater, Renee, it was, no, I'm going to play short this year and go about it this way. But Aidan Miller is quickly becoming the crown jewel of the Phillies farm system.
He is, and the important thing to note is, first of all, he's 19 years old.
Yes.
But last year for the Threshers, in 10 games, he was hitting .216 without a home run. So you look at last year, this year, and the leaps that he's made as someone that we already know was coming in a little bit underrated because of his injury and fell.
The Hammett bone.
Yeah, and fell much lower. But also, I know for Phillies assistant GM of amateur scouting, Brian Barber, he was mentioning how with Aidan Miller, the big attraction with him is his bat. You know, he is one of the best hitters in the country, and that's what they saw. And on the other side of it, as you mentioned, it's not just about his hits. He's also doing a better job with fielding and just overall. Coming into this past Friday night, Aidan Miller had registered 6 tracked hits with an exit velocity of at least 105 miles per hour. Only one player in Single A, 24-year-old teammate Dakota Katowski, has more such tracked hits at 8. So he's also doing a really good job of just honestly setting some records, getting some good numbers, and it's been great to see, especially since we had a chance to sit down with him. That's now we get to see how he's playing, and we already picked up on that. Like, we left the interview with him feeling like, wow, this kid is different.
Yeah,
He's
I just
very
reached
mature.
out. I'm reaching out to Clearwater as we speak, actually, to get him back on the show. I want to make him an official friend of the program.
For sure.
But John, Aidan Miller, this kid's got it.
It's incredible. Like you said, Renee, 19 years old, 19. Really seems like he's already due for a promotion.
I think he's going to move up.
I think he's going to rise quickly.
Yeah.
I think he'll be in Jersey by the end of the summer.
It'll be interesting to see what happens if he really pushes his case and gets near.
Yeah, somebody in the chat was saying, I forget who it was, I lost it, but they were saying I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing him get some outfield experience.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the Phillies infield, I mean, we once thought like maybe he's the third baseman because Alec Boehm doesn't become what he is right now. But if you look at the Phillies infield, it's pretty much set.
Clogged.
Do you want to pay Alec Boehm top of the market third baseman money in 2 years? he's making the case that you better. But we'll see.
I know
We'll
Steven Garrison's mentioning that. Yeah, he's blocked by everybody on the team.
Infield
so you do need to get him some outfield reps. And he is growing fast, as you mentioned, to be number 49 overall prospect across baseball and has moved up in some of the latest Phillies prospects list to that number 2 spot. He's one of the prospects that's rising on the list. There are some others
Get
that
the
are
middle
dropping.
name in because his mom likes
Aidan Bauer Miller, which is in itself
Mrs.
a
Miller's
rock star
a friend
name.
of the program.
Shout out to Aidan's family, his mom especially, because you did a good job. ABM, Aidan Bauer.
Yeah, there you go.
Rock star name.
They really liked when we brought up the middle name. The mom. That brought a smile to the mom's
I
face.
just remember, like at 19 years old.
Oh, I
how
was an
polished
idiot.
He was. With,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
With you all in the interview.
I was an
just
idiot
like-
at 19. I can't imagine like doing
Somehow you
interviews
had
with
dealing
adults.
with media
A good friend in high
and
school.
trying to establish a professional persona.
Yeah, it's
at that
funny.
age is wild, and he's just he's pulling it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple other notes down on the farm. Now, David Dahl is not a prospect. He's not going to come up in many down on the farm reports really ever. He's another like Rodolfo Castro quad A type of player. But a 7-inning cycle is worth noting when you hear of something like that. That's phenomenal work by David Dahl, getting a cycle in 7 innings.
It really
My
is.
God.
And as you mentioned, this isn't a prospect. He's 30 years old.
Yeah.
So this is not.
He's
somebody
a
to say
taxi
about for the
squad guy.
future. But he's somebody that can hang around and help. He's been plagued by injuries throughout his career. Actually made his major league debut in 2016. Was an all-star in 2019 with the Rockies, where he played 100 games, which is actually the most games he ever played in his career. So he is a depth guy, a nice depth guy for the Phillies to have available if they need someone he can be serviceable.
You know what's a shame? I just realized I think the word taxi squad guy is dead.
Oh, wow.
Do you hear that ever? Did Uber and Lyft kill the taxi squad player?
I think that's
Is
the kids
he
don't
an
know what
Uber
taxis
squad
are.
guy now?
Yeah, are you an
Like,
Uber
what
guy?
is- what's-
A
what do you
rideshare
say?
guy?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Taxis in
but-
general are pretty dead.
Yeah.
But I will say also just the fact that you're able to get David Dahl for a minor league contract and for so cheap.
Good depth, yeah.
And I know they talked about being able to try to like see what they can get out of him and as that depth piece if needed. But yeah, good for him. Nice to see.
Yeah. All right, the two negatives, Griff McGarry and Mick Abel. I believe Mick Abel is pitching Thursday this week. His numbers are pretty much the same, but his whip is 1.68. It's just not good. Now, Griff McGarry is in his new bullpen role. Now, there is one positive with Griff McGarry. He has 24 Ks in 16 innings. So his strikeout stuff is translating to this new role. The problem is his 1.50 whip tells you he's walking a lot of guys. He's walked 11 guys in those 16 innings. So he's putting unnecessary guys on base. The K stuff is there. Look, this is what the Phillies are good at doing. Taking somebody with stuff and eventually translating it to command, control, and learning how to pitch. The book is not closed yet on Griff McGarry, but like you need to start seeing something.
Yeah,
soon.
you do need to start seeing something. Like you said, the Phillies have been good at developing these power arms and helping them find control. I think we'll have an example or two coming up in a bit, but they do a good job with the development, which is a weird thing to say about the Phillies. After
Yes, it is
years
very
of
strange.
doing
It
that.
still doesn't sound right.
But I think there's two factors. They do a great job with the development, and then there's also just the numbers game of you bring in so many of these power arms with great stuff. A couple of them are going to figure it out command-wise and really become top-of-the-line pitchers.
Yeah.
I think is the thinking there.
Yeah, so hopefully, those two can turn it around, Renee.
And another I know in the chat was mentioned earlier about Andrew Painter. He is still on the
He's not even
60-day
throwing.
IL. What's that?
He's not even throwing until I think October.
That's
they
the thing.
said.
His timeline still is for 2025, so
Yeah.
they're not rushing him back. That's something that
No
he had
need.
talked about. They had talked about. They want to just ease him back the right way. He does still remain a top prospect, and he is still somebody that we're excited to see. But it's not going to be for a little while until 2025. So he's,
All right.
yeah.
Last two guys down on the farm report. We're going to end on two positives.
I like it.
Our man Sam Aldegheri in Jersey is doing pretty well. Aldegheri. He has allowed 13 hits while striking out 37 in 32 innings. Anytime there's more Ks than innings pitched, that's a pretty good number.
Yep.
He's having a little bit of a walk issue his last two starts out. He's put 5 men on base each time. I mean, he was pretty much unhittable and unstoppable prior to these last two starts. But Sam Aldegheri keeping it going with some strikeout stuff at Jersey. So that's good to
Yeah.
see too.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see the major league team having this much success,
Mm-hmm.
and then to also see, it's lots of young talent behind that. It's a great time to be a Phillies fan.
It really is.
It seems like they're set up they haven't just sold out and gone all in for this season. It looks like it's just a path to sustainable success here.
Yeah,
So.
and the last
Finally.
guy on the list, sorry, Renee, Michael.
Nope.
I just want to speed this up to get out of
Do
here.
your thing.
Michael Mercado is on the mound this afternoon in Lehigh Valley. Now, this looks like it's got potential to be another Tampa Bay Rays trade fleece job. We talked about it when it happened in December. Another one of these, young guys with stuff that wasn't able to turn the corner in Tampa Bay. They got him for a bag of baseballs. So far this year, in 25 and 2/3 innings, he has a .35 ERA. His Ks per nine are down about 3 per nine from his typical average. But who gives a shit, Renee, when you have an ERA of .35?
Ooh, I know John is saying, there's my Mercado. Listen,
Yeah.
another guy.
He's dealing.
The Phillies did a really good job of bringing in for cheap some arms to see what they can get out of them. And for Michael Mercado, another one, 25 years old, 6'4", got a great size, and he's been pitching really well. That's an impressive ERA. Nice to see.
Yeah,
Great
and
to see it.
hypothetical, man, with a big shout out to Ari Kilambi, the front office research and development guy that they
Yes.
stole from the Rays. Might have had some firsthand knowledge of Mercado's stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've really helped turn this around.
Yeah, very
Mhm.
possible. And, Mercado is another example of these moves the Phillies make in the offseason where nobody's particularly excited. I remember
Oh, yeah.
the Turnbull news. It was just sort of like, here's the transaction the Phillies made. We discussed it. But
we discussed everything they did because
we
it's a long
discussed everything
offseason.
they did because it's a very long
They did
offseason.
Michael Mercado,
As an
Spencer
hour-long
Turnbull,
show.
every single move that was made.
Yeah.
Everyone was
But-
like, what are the Phillies doing? They need to make bigger moves. And some of them, like a Spencer Turnbull, has directly impacted, and some like Michael Mercado could be, someone in the future. you're looking at.
Yeah, I would guess, John, he's like one of the next guys to maybe get a shot up if it's needed.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
If there's an
it's
injury or something.
Yeah, crowded roster right now.
Yeah, it is.
But to the
Definitely.
extent they need somebody, you got to think he's right there.
So he's pitching this afternoon. I believe it's like a 12 or a 1 o'clock start. So Michael Mercado looking good return on the results here early on. All right, let's just talk about some of the MLB storylines as we wrap up the show today. Did you guys see Skip Schumacher the other day? Completely undress Sixto Sanchez in a press conference. I almost felt bad for my fellow belly brethren in Sixto there. I mean, Schumacher, like, it's rare you see something like that where he's just like, yeah, this isn't good enough. He's not giving his teammates a chance to win games. We can't do this for much longer unless he steps it up. I was just like, damn, Schumacher. Maybe he knows he's going to get fired. The Marlins are a dumpster fire. Like, he just wants out. I don't know. But like,
do his teammates have a chance to win games anyway?
Right.
That's a great point. Excuse me, Skip. You're not really winning at games.
I don't know that Sixto's making or breaking any of the issues that are going on there.
Yeah, I
It's
felt
just very
bad for him.
unprofessional.
Right?
That's not the time to do it or the place to do it. And you don't have to be happy with how he's playing, but that's not something to say publicly.
No, he
like
did
that.
say we had a heart-to-heart in the tunnel about it.
And that's all you
So,
needed
like,
to leave it
he
at.
did have the same conversation behind closed doors.
But that's
But
all
like
he
that's
should
all
have.
you need to leave it at.
Just
It's
leave
like
it there.
we had a conversation, a heart to heart, and we're talking through some things. Period. That's it. Like we
Yeah.
don't need all the details. Clearly fired up and angry, and
Weird. I thought that was weird.
And I don't like because there's always going to be a special spot in my heart for Sixto because he brought us Real Muto.
He did.
yeah, I know
So,
John
that's our
Lemmerman's bringing
guy.
up Ron Washington, who we also saw make some comments. Listen, some of these guys are fed up. They're not winning games. They're brought in to try to help their club win, and they're not doing that.
You didn't have to take a job with the Marlins, Skip.
The
Like,
Marlins,
it's
the
a shit
Angels,
organization.
Like,
You're getting
have
shit
to.
results. Like, you're a good
Yeah.
manager. You could have probably waited it out.
The thing
so.
with Skip Schumacher, though, was his first MLB managerial job. You take what you can get.
I guess,
It's,
yeah. He's
but,
a good manager.
But I don't disagree with you. I think there is a shield that you're supposed to put up in front of your players.
Sure.
And he
Correct.
went scorched earth on him. And you bring up Ron Washington the other day too, where he was like, "I did my job." I'm like, that's why I texted
Like,
you guys.
it's
I'm
not
like,
on me.
this is a rare Ron Washington L. I think Ron Washington is one of the best
You
baseball
love Ron
minds.
Washington.
It's my Uncle
ever.
Ron.
Can you imagine Rob Thompson saying, a bad word about
Christopher
any of his
Sanchez
guys.
isn't letting us
he's gotta
compete,
step
like,
up, and
no.
And
that's
I know
why.
as you guys in the chat are having conversations around trading like a Taiwan Walker, a Spencer Turnbull, things like that. Like imagine if Rob came out and said something like, "Oh, I'm going to blow up the team by the trade deadline," or "I'm not happy with this," or not my problem. I put him out there. I put Taiwan out there. It's not my problem that he couldn't go 7 innings. Like you don't say these things because it's a bad look as a manager. You're supposed to be the one that's publicly supporting your team, supporting every decision, good or bad. And you had those conversations behind the scenes. So I don't know.
Very weird move.
Listen, when we don't have these problems with the Phillies because they're winning games.
Well, Rob's
but
Canadian.
when these teams
He's
are,
too nice.
Yeah, he wouldn't say that, eh?
He doesn't have that in him.
He's not going to say that, eh?
No, he'll give him a bottle of maple syrup and say, "Well, get him tomorrow morning with some flapjacks."
I just think it's also, as we've talked about, with people complaining through the schedule of so many teams that are under 500. There's a lot of teams right now that are not doing well.
Yeah.
And the Angels, the Marlins, 2 of them that are really struggling and playing some bad baseball.
One of those teams not doing well, and we just talked about them 2 weeks ago because they had won, 12 in a row? The Minnesota Twins have now lost 7 in a row. Pablo Lopez got shelled around yesterday. I guess their skid is so bad that they had a players-only meeting. That's bizarre. And, this is where the schedule conversation is really annoying because good baseball teams beat bad baseball teams consistently.
Right.
The Minnesota Twins went out there and were beating the Rockies and some bad baseball teams, won 12 in a row, and then they flipped it around on the inverse and lost 7 in a row. The Phillies aren't doing that. So, that's the sign of a good baseball team.
Yeah, you're winning the games you're supposed to.
And not losing games.
And also not losing back-to-back games.
Yeah,
like the Phillies, it was back-to-back versus the Reds late April, and then the first series of the season. Since then, other than then, that's the only back-to-back losses that we've seen from them all season. Yeah. And you're over 40 games in. That in itself is a sign of a good team. They've responded when they give up runs, and they've responded when they lost games to the point they're not having these 7-game losing streaks, knock on wood. Stop complaining about the strength of schedule.
They're almost 50 games in, and they're playing everyone their schedule. They played a variety of teams, and in the end, the Phillies and Braves are going to have almost 99% identical schedules. Except for playing each other. It's just, it should be a non-conversation.
People reaching for straws.
It's people reaching for straws. And I'm glad the Phillies don't care. Keep going out there.
Hypothetical man says they're a professional club as it gets right now. We've made it.
Made it.
All right, another Alex Anthopoulos jail watch, according to Bob Nightingale.
You hate this.
Well, I like Zach Eflin. He just went on the IL again. Apparently, the Braves are keeping a close eye on Zach Eflin. With Spencer Strider going down and being a World Series contender, you would figure they're going to go out and get somebody. It's the first real kind of trade sprinkle rumor I've heard out there. But the Braves apparently are keeping their eye on Eflin. Can't do that with him on the IL now. But don't want to see the Braves get better, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Certainly don't. Anytime you hear anything that indicates that Atlanta might be getting stronger than they are. It's a concern.
Alex Anthopoulos jail.
Gulag. Especially since you already have Chris Sale, who's on a 20 endless scoring.
Well, he's already doing time
streak
for that signing or trade, I should say.
Yeah. So, just calm it down.
Life sentence, Alex.
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan Howard, a little bit of information here. He just got passed. Giancarlo Stanton just surpassed Ryan Howard for the most games in the Baseball Reference database with 4+ strikeouts. So congratulations, Ryan Howard, no longer #1 in baseball history in games with 4+ strikeouts. Thank you, Giancarlo Stanton.
There you go.
We see you. We hear you. We respect you for knocking the big piece down. Yeah. So Giancarlo now has 28 games with 4+ strikeouts. Ryan Howard had 27. Can anybody else get the remaining top 5? There's 3 guys in the top 5. This is a good Zulli bot question.
Giancarlo's was over 14 years, and Ryan's was much less.
Don't bring details into this Marcelo Ozuna fan club.
We won't look too closely.
I'm sorry, but some of the years are a little bit interesting.
One of these guys in the top 5.
Joey Gallo could pass.
Oh, you already got one. I was going to say one of these guys you recently just saw, and one is from Cheltenham High School.
Sorry.
And then the other guy signed a massive contract and struck out a lot 95 south of here. Tyler, he hit 57 home runs.
Chris Davis.
Chris Davis is number 3.
Adam Dunn has to be on that list.
Adam Dunn is
forgot
ninth.
Ninth.
Joey
Dun,
Gallo, as
dun.
Renee ruined, is number 4. And number 5.
Reggie Jackson's on that list too. He
number
struck
5,
out a lot.
Cheltenham High School's Reggie
I'm
Jackson.
just messing things up today, guys.
Mr.
I'm sorry.
October. All right, and then the last one. Unfortunately, the Yankees might be getting stronger as well, as Garrett Cole is going to face live pitching, I believe, today or tomorrow, which is a major step back for him. He's been feeling great through this. Yankees are pretty good. You might be adding the best pitcher in baseball back in like another month or so.
We'll worry about that when we get to the World Series.
See you in October, bitch.
My biggest trash talking line that I've been using for the Yankees is the fact that Garrett Cole has been out. So I don't know what I'm going to trash talk Yankees fans with now, but
Yeah.
for baseball, happy to see one of the best is back throwing, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you when we see you.
We'll see you in the World Series.
And look, the Phillies are going to get stronger too. They're going to get Trey Turner back.
Yeah.
Correct.
To the extent that they spot weaknesses, they can make their own moves at the trade deadline. So what we see right now isn't the finished product. Also, this is another reason why the schedule, which I said I wasn't going to talk about anymore, but the schedule discourse doesn't make any sense. Playing the bad teams early, arguably that's worse because the bad teams get worse at the trade deadline and the good teams get better.
That's a good point.
So Atlanta is going to be playing worse versions.
And I think the Phillies'
Rockies.
remaining schedule is like 11th or 12th in baseball. 13th.
Yeah.
So it's like very middle of
It's
the pack. It's
not that good, easy, or hard. It's like right in the middle.
So there's some conversation in the chat about the rest of that list. I'll read it for you. Eugenio Suarez is number 6. Jim Thome, number 7. Bo Jackson, number 8. Adam Dunn, number 9. Mark Reynolds, number 10. Miguel Sano, number 11. Rob Deere, number 12. Swingin' Sammy Sosa, number 13. And Jose Canseco is number 14. That is going to do it for us here today at the PHLY Phillies podcast. Always great to have John in studio with us. Make sure you're following John on Twitter and reading his writing. You'll be down at the ballpark tonight covering the Rangers series. So on Twitter at 2008 Phils. You can follow our show account at PHL_Phillies on Twitter as well. And make sure you're checking out all John and Jim's writing on allphly.com. Some great stuff happening there. For Tyler Zulli, John Foley, Renee Washington, I'm Jamie Lynch. We're back tomorrow at 11 a.m. We will see you then. Let's go, Phils. And by the way, I fully expect Ranger to go out and get a W tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
The shutout
AJ.
streak,
No doubt.
yeah. I mean, the unbeaten streak continues.
9 games.
The Phillies are winning today, and I'm
Ranger
not a
Day.
Braves fan at all. Hate the Braves. So just to
Just
clarify
love
that before we
Marcell
go.
Ozuna.
Just love my fantasy team winning and whoever can help me win. But let's go Phillies. Woo!
Yeah, let's go
Phils.
Ranger. Have a day. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.